Live from New Delhi, you're watching DD India News Hour, India's voice to the world. I'm Siddharth Bharadwaj. Coming up in the next hour. Adding to India's space prowess, Indian Space Research Organization ISRO successfully launches Earth observation satellite. Paetongtarn Shinawatra becomes Thailand's youngest ever Prime Minister. Succeeds Srettha Thavisin, who was removed by a constitutional court ruling. Gaza ceasefire talks still on in Doha. Mediators hoping for a possible solution for months-long conflict this time after talks failed in previous attempts. MPox cases found outside Africa as Sweden confirms its first case of the dangerous virus. Pakistan too detects 3 patients. Prime Minister Narendra Modi interacts with contingent that represented India in the Paris Olympics. Says every player who went to Paris Olympics is a champion. The Indian Space Research Organization has successfully launched Earth observation satellite EOS-08 by a small satellite launch vehicle SSLV-D3, giving a boost to India's space program. The third developmental flight of SSLV carrying the Earth observation satellite was successfully placed into the intended orbit. The small vehicle, capable of carrying only up to 500 kilograms to space, was developed by ISRO with the aim of commercializing it. The vehicle is just 2 meters in diameter and 34 meters long. It uses 3 solid fuel-based stages and a final liquid fuel-based stage to correct the velocity for placing small and micro satellites in orbit. Globally, there is a growing demand for small launch vehicles that can be quickly assembled on demand to launch scores of small and micro satellites to be placed in low Earth orbit. The primary objectives of the EOS-08 mission include designing and developing a microsatellite, creating payload instruments compatible with the microsatellite bus, and incorporating new technologies required for future operational satellites. The mission also paves the way for technology transfer, allowing the Indian industry and New Space India Limited to produce small satellite launch vehicle for commercial missions. ISRO Chief S. Somnath congratulated the team for SSLV success. He announced that the development process of SSLV has reached conclusion and technology will be transferred to private sector.
Third development flight of SSLV-D3 with the EOS-08 satellite has been successfully accomplished. The rocket has placed the spacecraft in the very precise orbit as planned. I find that there are no deviations in the injection conditions. The final orbit, of course, will be known after tracking, but the current indication is that everything is perfect. The EOS-08 satellite as well as SR-0 satellite also has been injected after the maneuvers. And congratulations to the SSLV-D3 team, the project team. With this third development flight of SSLV, we can declare the development process of SSLV is completed. And congratulations now.
And DD India correspondent Anbarsan joins us live from Sriharikota in Andhra Pradesh. Anbarsan, tell us about ISRO's successful launch that has taken place earlier in the day.
As the Indian Space Research Organization today launched the SSLV-D3 rocket at around 9:17 a.m. and it successfully launched into orbit, and this one carries a small satellite which is EOS-08, the Earth observation satellite, at around 475 kilometer circular orbit in the space. And this satellite actually focusing on more Earth imaging, and particularly this satellite focusing on the Earth imaging, and day and night, both time it will be taking. And this actually, we have a history of around 2022, we first launched this SSLV rocket, and they launched it, and some default is there, and after that 23 they rectified it, and D2 successfully launched, and this is a third. So after every third attempt, and it went successfully. So the ISRO chief S. Somnath has said that the developmental flight has successfully completed. So it will be now into the commercial sector. They can also implement it, and so it will be a very future. It will be used regularly for the small satellite launches in Sriharikota, where we are there. And also this satellite also have another small satellite, which is Demostrat. It will be focusing on the demisphere, where it will be analyzing the ultraviolet situation. So it will be helpful for the Gaganyaan project, where we are sending humans there. So it will be helpful for that. And the continuous pushing on these small satellite launches and small rockets, it will be more benefit to the startup ecosystem, where we have space startups companies. They can launch a smaller satellite, which will be beneficial to the commercial and private sector. And the mission director Vinod has said the D1, D2, D3, so it's now completed. It will be more professional mode. So we will be having a more private commercial entities also can approach, and they can also collaborate with this. So in this Sriharikota, we can see that continuous successes of Chandrayaan, and we are going to launch Gaganyaan and Aditya.
All right, Anwar. Thank you for all those details.
So
thank you for
we are
your analysis.
going a Make in India project, and these kind of systems and all mostly focused.
Okay. All right. Thank you so much, Anwar, again. And Thailand's parliament elected Paetongtarn Shinawatra as its youngest prime minister on Friday, only a day after she was thrust into the spotlight amid an unrelented power struggle between the country's warring elites. Paetongtarn succeeds Sretha Thavisin, who was removed from his post by a constitutional court ruling on Wednesday. The 37-year-old Paetongtarn is the youngest child of billionaire tycoon Thaksin Shinawatra and is the third member of the family after her father and aunt to hold the nation's top job. And DD India's correspondent William Denslow reports.
The majority of members of parliament in Thailand have approved Paetongtarn Shinawatra to be the country's next prime minister. She's never served in office before, but the family name is certainly well known on the political landscape in Thailand. Her father, Thaksin Shinawatra, is a former prime minister himself and still looms large over Thai politics. He is still regarded as a deeply divisive, deeply polarizing character on the Thai political scene. He only returned to the country around a year ago after a prolonged period in self-imposed exile. This is just the latest chapter in what has been a tumultuous time in Thai politics, with the Constitutional Court very much at the heart and centre of it. Just a few weeks ago, they moved to dissolve an opposition Move Forward party after their attempts to amend a defamation law in the country. And then just a few days ago, they ruled in a 5-4 decision to remove Shinawatra's predecessor, Srettha Thavisin, from the role of Prime Minister, accusing him of grossly violating ethical standards because one of his cabinet picks had a criminal record. Shinawatra now has the unenviable task of bringing a degree of unity to what has been an incredibly divisive period in Thai politics, and also to try and get a spluttering economy moving again. William Denslow in Hong Kong reporting for DD India.
And Sweden has confirmed its first case of the viral infection MPox, which was also the first case outside Africa. This comes a day after the WHO declared the disease a global public health emergency for the second time in 2 years. Sweden's Health and Social Affairs Minister informed that the country has the first case of a more dangerous type of MPox called Clade 1. He said that person was infected during a stay in an area of Africa, adding that he had received care and instructions in line with the health agency's recommendations.
Vi har också nu under
We have also had confirmation that we have one case in Sweden of the most serious type of MPox, the one called Clade 1. This is something we take seriously. At the same time, this is a job that our healthcare and the regional infection prevention agencies can and have worked out routines and systems in order to handle. The public health agency is coordinating the work at a national level and has a close dialogue with the regional infection control units.
Folkhälsomyndigheten samordnar.
United Nations Deputy Spokesman Farhan Haq reiterated the World Health Organization's announcement calling the MPox virus a public health emergency of international concern. Haq said WHO is warning also about the potential of this MPox virus to spread further across countries in Africa and possibly outside the continent.
You will have seen the announcement made by the World Health Organization yesterday, in which it determined that the surge of MPox in the Democratic Republic of the Congo and a growing number of countries in Africa constitutes a public health emergency of international concern. WHO is warning also about the potential of this MPox virus to spread further across countries in Africa and possibly outside the continent. To allow for an immediate scale-up, WHO has released $1.45 million from the WHO Contingency Fund for emergencies. It may need to release more in the coming days.
Meanwhile, Pakistan's Khyber Pakhtunkhwa Health Department reported 3 cases of MPox in patients who arrived from the United Arab Emirates. Pakistan has had cases of MPox previously. It was not immediately clear which variant was detected in the patients. The World Health Organization is urging all countries to enhance surveillance, share data and work to better understand the transmission and share tools like vaccines in addressing the current outbreak. China will monitor people and goods entering the country for MPox for the next 6 months after the WHO said the virus was again a global health emergency. According to a statement from its customs administration, vehicles, containers and goods from areas with MPox cases should be sanitized. China's National Health Commission last year announced MPox would be managed as a Category B infectious disease, enabling officials to take emergency measures such as restricting gatherings, suspending work and schools or sealing off areas when there is an outbreak of a disease. Dr. S. Chatterjee, who is an internal medicine specialist at Delhi's Apollo Hospital, explains some facts about MPox virus. Let's listen in.
MPox, or what was earlier known as monkeypox, is a viral disease. It basically presents as fever, sore throat, body aches, headache, but mainly it can cause blisters on the body or rashes on the body and lymph node enlargement. It happens with mainly touch or near contact with people who are affected with the disease. It is mainly a self-limiting disease, but yes, it can cause death in a significant population also. And that is why the World Health Organization is warning health authorities worldwide to be aware of the disease and make arrangements to diagnose it and treat it symptomatically and identify it earlier.
And still to come on DD India News Hour. Ukraine has reportedly made significant advancements into the Russian territory. Stay with us to know the more. As war of words intensify in US elections, both Republican and Democrat candidates are using innovative jargons to provoke ideas and consolidation in their favors. Friends star Matthew Perry's death case has seen a significant breakthrough, with 5 people charged in connection with his passing.
Complex issues, hidden agendas, twists and turns, strategic games. We think all dots are linked. We just need to connect them. Join me every week as I connect the dots to unravel hidden designs in statecraft, mysteries, and decode issues that matter to you. Watch Connecting the Dots with me at these times on DD India.
You're watching DD India News Hour. I'm Siddharth Bharadwaj. Diplomatic efforts are underway in Doha to secure a ceasefire and hostage deal between Israel and Hamas, with key mediators working to break the deadlock after previous failed talks. In a bid to bolster these efforts, foreign ministers of UK and France will travel to Israel to meet their counterpart, Israel Quds and Strategic Affairs Minister Ron Dermer. The visit marks the first UK-France joint visit to Israel in more than 10 years. Meanwhile, Israel has ordered fresh evacuations in southern and central Gaza on Friday, saying the areas had been used by Hamas as a base for firing mortars and rockets towards Israel. Relatives of hostages held in Gaza and hundreds of their supporters rallied on Thursday in Tel Aviv and Haifa to push Israel's leadership toward an agreement that will free captives in Gaza as a new round of Gaza ceasefire talks was underway in Doha.
Very emotional for us, very hard for us, and we hope that thanks to these talks we get to agreement and everything, they will be back, because otherwise it might be very hard to bring them back, and if something happened in the Middle East, more war with Iran and Lebanon and Hezbollah, all the hostages might be neglected at the site, so it might be the last chance to bring them alive, whoever's still alive, and we must push everyone to get to this agreement and bring them back.
Today evening we did a rally for the kidnappees and the families to encourage the government to sign an agreement with Hamas to bring back all the kidnappees, the girl, the man, the children, the women.
All right. Meanwhile, Israeli military spokesperson Daniel Hagri said on Thursday that the military had eliminated more than 17,000 Hamas operatives in Gaza since the start of the conflict.
Israeli Defense Forces troops continue to fight in Gaza, operating in Rafah, Khan Yunis, the central Gaza Strip, and are striking everywhere. So far, we have eliminated over 17,000 terrorists. As part of the significant field achievements, in the last week we dismantled approximately 50 underground tunnels in the area of Philadelphia corridor. We are focused on locating, neutralizing, and destroying underground infrastructure in the area.
On to another conflict. Ukraine has reportedly made significant advancements into the Russian territory following a surprise counterattack launched on August 6. Ukraine's top military commander announced on Thursday that command center has been set up in the occupied area of Russia's Kursk region. In addition to their territorial gains, Ukrainian special forces reportedly took over 100 Russian soldiers into custody during the cross-border operation. All right, and DD India's Dasha Cherneshova joins us from Moscow. Dasha, Ukraine is claiming to have made significant advancements into the Russian territory. What can you tell us about it, and how is Russia responding to the same?
Well, we are yet to hear the daily update from the Russian Ministry of Defense on the situation in the Kursk region. So far, we understand the Russian military have been focused on eliminating the Ukrainian troops on the Russian sovereign territory. We've heard about the Russian artillery strikes in the Sumy region of Ukraine, where Moscow says it has been destroying the concentrations of the Ukrainian military and manpower and their military equipment that was on the way to to supply those fighting in Russia's Kursk region. We also understand that the Ukrainian military have had significant losses on the Belgorod direction. So in general, the situation is yet to be clarified by the Russian authorities, but the main message that we are getting is that the Russian military are doing what they can to eliminate those Ukrainian troops. In the meantime, more people have been evacuated from both of those regions that border Ukraine and Russia.
All right, Data, thank you so much for your analysis. Friends star Matthew Perez's death case has seen a significant breakthrough, with 5 people charged in connection with his passing. 2 doctors, 3 others, including Perez's personal assistant, are accused of providing ketamine, a powerful sedative that led to his death. Authorities claim that the defendants illegally prescribed, sold or administered the sedative, resulting in Perez's tragic demise. Those charged include Jasween Sangha, known as Ketamine Queen, and Dr. Mark Chavez, who supplied the sedative. On to the United States. As war of words intensify ahead of presidential election, both Republican and Democrat candidates are using innovative jargons to provoke ideas and consolidation in their favors. Trump portrays himself as a defender of the Western civilization, while Harris targets corporate greed. DD India's Akhilesh Suman reports.
On Thursday in New Jersey, U.S. Republican presidential candidate Donald Trump presented himself as a defender of the Western civilization. He was speaking at a Jewish donors event. Trump further blamed Biden-Harris administration of violence the Jewish people are facing.
Kamala Harris is the candidate of the forces who want to destroy Western civilization, but most particularly Israel and Jewish people. And I'm the candidate of those who want to defend Western civilization, defend Israel, and defend the United States of America.
The Democrats, on their part, are targeting Republican leaders on issues such as Biden's signature Inflation Reduction Act. Democratic presidential candidate Kamala Harris and U.S. President Joe Biden accused Trump of supporting corporate greed and utter disregard of the need to curb inflated prices of essential medicines. They were on first joint appearance in a rally after nomination of Harris as the presidential candidate.
Why are prescription drugs so expensive? I will tell you. Well, one big reason is for years, Big Pharma has often inflated the price of life-saving medication, often charging many times what it would cost to make just to increase their profits. And millions of Americans have suffered as a result.
Not a single Republican voted for this bill, period. Not one in the entire Congress. The reason I say it is not to make a political point about them, if they've gotten their lesson, but guess what? They want to, the guy we're running against, what's his name? Donald Dump or Donald, whatever. They want to get rid of this, what we passed. They're fighting to get rid of what we've just passed. No, I'm serious.
In the United States, the election campaign is sure to get more shriller and nastier as November 5th approaches. Focus will remain on the respective viewpoints and opinions of both the leaders on issues that continue to be in public discourse, be it inflation in the US or conflicts in various parts of the world. Akhilesh Suman's report for DD India.
And let's take a look at other stories making news around the world. A Russian Tu-22M3 bomber crashed in Siberia's Irkutsk region due to a technical malfunction. One of the crew members died while others sustained injuries and were hospitalized. Regional governor confirmed the incident on Thursday. Prince Harry and Meghan attended a traditional Colombian performance on Thursday alongside Vice President Francia Marquez. The couple enjoyed a play inspired by Amerindian traditions. Their visit ended on August 18, includes stops in Cartagena and Cali, where they will meet with local activists and community members. And American singer Taylor Swift delivered an unforgettable experience to her fans at Wembley Stadium on Thursday for the final shows of her European Eras tour. And still to come on DD India News Hour. We will discuss how India's space odyssey is creating waves all across the globe. Nation pays homage to former Indian Prime Minister Atal Bihari Vajpayee on his death anniversary. You're watching DD India News Hour. I am Siddharth Bharadwaj and a quick recap of the headlines. Adding to India's space prowess, Indian Space Research Organization ISRO successfully launches Earth Observation Satellite. Paetongtarn Shinawatra becomes Thailand's youngest ever Prime Minister, succeeds Srettha Thavisin, who was removed by a constitutional court ruling. Gaza ceasefire talks still on in Doha, mediators hoping for a possible solution for months-long conflict, this time after talks failed in previous attempts. And MPox cases found outside Africa as Sweden confirms its first case of the dangerous virus. Pakistan too detects 3 patients. India's Prime Minister Narendra Modi has said that the country's space sector is going to be crucial in aiding India's growth story, and his government has opened the sector to private players, resulting in the startup boom that the country is seeing in the sector now, hinting at more reforms. Prime Minister Modi made this remark while addressing the nation from the ramparts of the Red Fort on the 78th Independence Day on Thursday.
हमारे साथ जुड़ा हुआ एक महत्वपूर्ण पहलू है, हम उस पर भी बल दे रहे हैं। हमने स्पेस सेक्टर में बहुत रिफॉर्म किए हैं। जिन बंधनों में हमने स्पेस सेक्टर को बांध के रखा था, उसे हमने खोल दिया है। आज सैकड़ों स्टार्टअप्स स्पेस के सेक्टर में आ रहे हैं। वाइब्रेंट बनता जाता हमारा स्पेस सेक्टर भारत को एक शक्तिशाली राष्ट्र बनाने का एक महत्वपूर्ण अंग है, और हम इसको दूर की सोच के साथ मजबूती दे रहे हैं।
The Indian Space Research Organization stands as a beacon of India's prowess in space exploration and technology. From launching its first satellite, Aryabhat, in 1975 to achieving milestones like the Mars Orbiter mission, Mangalyaan in 2014 and successful Chandrayaan mission to the moon, ISRO has consistently pushed the boundaries of space exploration. Let us know more about ISRO's successful mission from our expert, Dr. Ajay Lele, who is space expert IDSA. Sir, very warm welcome on this broadcast, first of all. This indeed is a monumental achievement by ISRO after the successful launch of small satellite launch vehicle D3. This mission certainly marks the final development flight of ISRO's smallest rocket and certainly opened new channels to space players in the country and also provided boost to Indian space programs. How do you see this, sir?
I think this is a very important step as far as commercial aspects of space is concerned in the country. Because if you slightly trace back the history, ISRO has got a very reliable vehicle called PSLV. That vehicle can carry satellites which are of a 2-ton variety. But basically, when you look at the orders which India is getting from all over the world, the orders are mainly for small satellites which are 500 kgs or even lesser weight. So all these years, what used to happen is that ISRO will carry a PSLV along with the main payload. And if some sort of a space which is there, then what we call that the smaller satellites used to piggyback the thing. But over a period of time, there was an understanding that the market for smaller satellites is increasing in day by day. So ISRO decided in the year 2018 to develop another vehicle which will be specifically used for launching of a small satellites. So SSLV is a vehicle which can carry 500 kgs or less weight category satellites to an altitude of around 500 kilometers. So there is a global market which is there in small satellites, mini satellites, micro satellites, and nano satellites. Wants to capture that market, and that's the reason ISRO started making investments into this program. This program has got 3 phases. Third phase got over successfully today, and now one can say with confidence that now ISRO has operationalized this vehicle, and in coming days it will be undertaking a lot of commercial satellite launches by using this vehicle.
Dr. Lele, with India's growing space presence and cost-effective missions, do you see heavy investments in the Indian market from private companies from India and around the world as well?
As far as the startup culture in India is concerned, started evolving during last, one can say 5 to 6 years particularly. Places like Bangalore and Hyderabad, mainly a lot amount of startups have come into place. And these startups have started making investments into smaller technologies also. In fact, if you see today's launch also, we had one satellite which was launched by a startup also. So startups have now reached to a level of expertise where they can launch satellites by developing and designing their own satellites. So only the issue is of a launch vehicle as far as startups are concerned. The rest all technology they have already mastered, at least to launch satellites into a low Earth orbit. So ISRO has now provided a launch vehicle for that purpose. The next plan for ISRO is that to commercialize this vehicle. So ISRO has done its bit about designing and developing a vehicle, testing it successfully. Now they will be sharing the technology with the commercial sector, and in years to come, along with NSIL, ISRO will be outsourcing the entire activity of small satellite launch vehicle to this SSLV vehicle.
Definitely. Sir, this EOS-08 Earth observation satellite is carrying 3 payloads, like you were saying, you were just mentioning, and that will play a pivotal role in environmental monitoring and ocean surface wind analysis and flood detection and monitoring UV irradiance. What potential advancements do you think could be made from the data provided by this satellite, sir?
You see, ISRO has been continuously undertaking the task of ensuring that within one launch they achieve many things. Technically speaking, this launch was meant to prove that their vehicle is capable of launching a satellite. But this particular satellite which ISRO has launched, which is having 3 payloads, there are different types of payloads.
Definitely.
It's essentially trying to look at the aspects of environmental monitoring, disaster monitoring, then what are the other things which are happening as far as ocean winds are concerned. This will definitely help India Meteorological Department and other climate change agencies to understand what are the things which are happening out into the space in real time. Then there are other aspects associated with this particular mission. There is a code which is looking at the aspects of the relevance of UV radiations into the space. Because we are planning to launch a Gaganyaan mission, and at the Gaganyaan mission, humans will be traveling to the space. So there is a possibility of some high doses of gamma rays. Then we require certain amount of early warning.
Okay, so it will help in that.
Amount of impact on the health of the astronauts.
Okay, all right.
In a step-by-step fashion. So there is some element which will help the Gaganyaan mission also in this satellite.
Okay. Dr. Lele, from the humble beginnings where rockets were transported on cycles, bullock carts, to major achievements like Chandrayaan 3, Gaganyaan, Aditya L1, and the list goes on. How do you analyze India's space odyssey over the years?
I think India has been very successful in various domains of the space. But I must reiterate over here that we have achieved this success based on certain amount of failures also. And space domain, if you see globally, there could be a lot amount of failures which have been there in case of developed countries like Russia or US also. So, in fact, it is said that we learn more from the failures, and ISRO has actually learned much more from the failures. Like, let's take the case of Chandrayaan 3 mission. We learned from a failure of a Chandrayaan 2. So, if you really look at ISRO's success story, ISRO has been working tirelessly on their own systems, they have been analyzing their own failures, and they have been able to overcome it in very short space of time. When we talk of today's launch also, the first mission which happened in 2022 was a failure, but ISRO learned right from that failure, and quickly within 6 months in February, on February 10, 2023, had launched the second.
Okay. Sir, very quickly, countries like US, they have started their space tourism programs with private companies coming into play and getting good investments and potentially bright scope in this segment. Will India's immensely growing space sector, with it, how do you think it will start its own space tourism programs? How soon?
I think if you really look at the trajectory of a development of India's private space sector during last 5 to 6 years, it is a very encouraging sign which one can say. There are two aspects associated with. One is that in the year 2023, we came out with a space policy which actually identified what the private sector can do, what ISRO can do, and what other agencies can do. So now there is a clarity as far as policy perspectives are there. Then we have come out with the FDI policy also. So there are a lot of people from outside who are making investments into the domain of a space also. So when we look at a development which is already there happening into the private sector, we have already launched suborbital missions. Recently, Agnikul has launched a particular mission.
Correct.
3D printed satellite was launched.
Agniban, yes, sir.
The scope is there.
Yeah. All right, sir. Thank you so much for coming onto this broadcast today. Thank you so much for your analysis.
Thank you.
And the nation paid homage to former Prime Minister and Bharat Ratna Atal Bihari Vajpayee on his death anniversary on Friday. President Draupadi Murmu, Vice President Jagdeep Dhankar and Prime Minister Narendra Modi paid floral tributes to former Prime Minister Atal Bihari Vajpayee at Sadaiv Atal. Defence Minister Rajnath Singh and Speaker of the Lower House of Parliament Om Birla, among other prominent leaders, also paid their tributes. A prayer meeting was organised at the Samadhi of Atal Bihari Vajpayee. A widely respected politician acknowledged as amongst the finest orators, Atal Bihari Vajpayee played a crucial role in the history of Indian politics. And people took to the streets of India's national capital, Delhi, on Friday to protest against the atrocities faced by Hindus and other minorities in Bangladesh amidst the political unrest in the neighboring country. Nari Shakti March or Women Empowerment March, a silent protest, was organized by a Nari Shakti Forum. The protest started from Delhi's Mandi House and will conclude at Jantar Mantar. Let's take a look at other stories making news. The Indian Medical Association has announced a nationwide shutdown of non-emergency services for 24 hours starting Saturday 6 a.m. The decision has been taken in wake of recent rape and murder of a female medic in Kolkata and the subsequent vandalism at place of doctors' protest. The Election Commission of India will announce dates for state assembly elections on Friday. Assembly elections are due in Jammu and Kashmir and 3 other states. An election commission team had recently visited Jammu and Kashmir and Haryana to review the preparations. And Union Agriculture and Farmers Welfare Minister Shivraj Singh Chauhan inaugurated the National Pest Surveillance System in New Delhi on Thursday. The system will help farmers to identify different types of pesticides and insecticides and how to prevent the crops from their harmful impacts. Weather updates now. The India Meteorological Department issued a rain warning for this week for multiple states including Delhi, Himachal Pradesh, Uttarakhand, Kerala and Odisha. In northern India, light to moderate rainfall accompanied by thunderstorms will continue in Delhi and NCR regions till August 21st. Heavy rainfall over Jammu, Kashmir and West Rajasthan predicted till Saturday. In the central region, heavy to very heavy rainfall is likely in parts of Madhya Pradesh and Chhattisgarh. Orange and yellow alerts issued in parts of Kerala for Friday. The weather department warns against fishing activities around the coastal region. In Japan, streets of Kawasaki in southern Tokyo saw strong winds and rain as Typhoon Ampel hits the region. Hundreds of flights have been grounded and around 10,000 homes are being evacuated in Japan on Friday. The strong typhoon has caused power cuts in the middle of a major summer holiday week. With wind speeds of 45 meters per second, the typhoon is expected to move towards the eastern region. A 6.3 magnitude earthquake struck off the coast of Taiwan's eastern city of Hualien on Friday. Despite the intensity, there were no immediate reports of damage. This is the second large quake to jolt the island in less than a day. Weather officials have warned of the risk of landslides in mountainous areas following days of rain. Taiwan lies near the junction of two tectonic plates and is prone to earthquakes. In April, Hualien was hit by the biggest earthquake to affect Taiwan in at least 25 years. 9 people were killed and more than 900 injured. Still to come on DD India News Hour. Union Minister Sarbananda Sonowal felicitates double Olympic medalist Manu Bhaker. Premier League returns to action tonight. Manchester United to host Fulham at Old Trafford.
Welcome to Jaipur.
You're watching DD India News Hour. I'm Siddharth Bharadwaj. The Indian Ministry of Information and Broadcasting on Friday announced the winners of the 70th National Film Awards, one of the most prestigious ones. Names of winners from the Indian film fraternity were announced in a press conference in the capital, New Delhi. The announced awardees will be facilitated by Indian President Draupadi Murmu in October 2024. Some of the prominent winners in major categories are the Malayalam movie Attam, that was awarded as the best feature film. Rishabh Shetty won Best Actor for his role in the film Kantara, and Best Actress was given to two leading ladies, Nithya Menon and Mansi Parekh, for their outstanding performances. Pawan Raj Malhotra won the Best Actor in Supporting Role for the action drama Fauja. The evergreen Neena Gupta bagged the award for Best Actress in Supporting Role in the film Unchai. Best Script and Best Cinematography was given for Mono Noaware. Musical legends Arijit Singh, Pritam and A.R. Rahman won awards in various music categories. And time now for sport updates, and for that I have my colleague in the studio, Deepika Mehto. Hello Deepika, a very good afternoon to you. Prime Minister interacted with all the athletes who've come here and said that every athlete, every Indian athlete who went to the Olympics is a champion in itself.
Indeed, and good afternoon, Siddharth. That is the headline of the day because indeed all the participants are champions. So let's quickly get an update on that. To begin with it, Prime Minister Narendra Modi interacted with the Indian Olympic contingent in New Delhi. Addressing the players, Prime Minister Modi lauded the Olympians for their performance and making the Indian flag fly high at the Paris Olympics. The athletes were totally excited to meet and interact with Prime Minister Narendra Modi. Here's a report.
Prime Minister Narendra Modi interacted with the Indian Olympics contingent who returned from Paris after registering many firsts and scripting new records. While interacting with the athletes, Prime Minister talked about the first-time winners who created new benchmark in sports. From Manu Bhaker to Neeraj Chopra, Prime Minister praised them all.
ओलंपिक्स के करीब 125 साल के इतिहास में ये मनु हमारी पहली बेटी ऐसी हैं जिसने भारतीय खिलाड़ी के रूप में इंडिविजुअल इवेंट में 2 मेडल जीते हैं। हमारा नीरज पहला ऐसा भारतीय खिलाड़ी है जिन्होंने इंडिविजुअल इवेंट में गोल्ड और सिल्वर जीते। हॉकी में भारत ने 52 साल बाद लगातार 2 बार मेडल जीते कंटिन्यू। अमन ने केवल 21 साल की उम्र में मेडल जीत करके देश को बिल्कुल इतना प्रसन्न कर दिया है और अमन के जीवन के विषय में आज देश जानने लगा है तो उनको लग रहा है कि भाई व्यक्ति के जीवन की कठिनाइयों से भी इंसान अपनी यात्रा को, स्वप्न को, संकल्प को सिद्ध कर सकता है।
Not only this, Prime Minister also encouraged the athletes who made it to the finals, missing the Olympic medals by a whisker.
विनेश पहली ऐसी भारतीय बनी जो कुश्ती में फाइनल तक पहुंची। ये भी हमारे लिए बड़ा गर्व का विषय है। ओलंपिक्स में 7 शूटिंग इवेंट्स में इंडियन शूटर्स फाइनल्स में पहुंचे और ये भी पहली बार हुआ है। इसी तरह तीरंदाजी में धीरज और अंकिता पदक के लिए खेलने वाले पहले भारतीय तीरंदाजी बने और लक्ष्य, हमारा लक्ष्य सेन, आपके मैच ने तो पूरे देश का जोश बढ़ा दिया है। हमारे लक्ष्य भी ओलंपिक में सेमीफाइनल तक पहुंचने वाले एकमात्र पुरुष बैडमिंटन खिलाड़ी बने हैं। हमारे अविनाश सावले, इसने स्टीपल चेज के फाइनल में क्वालिफाई किया। इस फॉर्मेट में ये भी फर्स्ट टाइम रहा।
PR Sritesh, who recently announced his retirement from hockey, shared a light-hearted moment with the Prime Minister.
हमारे लिए थोड़ा हार्ड था जब हम लोग सेमीफाइनल हार गए थे क्योंकि ये टीम इस बार जब पेरिस के लिए गया था हमारा उम्मीद इतना था कि हम लोग फाइनल खेलेगा या गोल्ड के लिए हम लोग लायक है। बट जब सेमीफाइनल हार गया एकदम से थोड़ा दर्द लगा सबको। बट आखिर जब लास्ट मैच के लिए हम लोग उतरा था तब सब लोगों ने ये बोला कि यार ये मैच श्रीबाई के लिए जीतना है। तो मेरे लिए तो सबसे गर्व की बात यही है सर, क्योंकि इतना साल का जो मेहनत अपना देश के लिए किया है, ये भाई लोगों ने मेरे लिए साथ दिया, मेरे साथ दिया और हम लोगों ने, मैंने स्पेशली वो पोडियम से अपना टीम को थैंक यू बोला और गुड बाय बोला सर।
Prime Minister Narendra Modi heard their experiences from the games and lauded their feats on the sporting field. He further said that every player who went to Paris is a champion and that the government of India will continue to support sports.
साथियों, आज भारत अपने यहाँ वर्ल्ड क्लास स्पोर्ट्स इकोसिस्टम डेवलप करने की प्राथमिकता दे रहा है। ग्रासरूट से आने वाले खिलाड़ियों को उनको तराशना ये बहुत जरूरी है। हमने गांव-गांव, शहर से युवा प्रतिभाओं को आगे बढ़ाने के लिए खेलो इंडिया मुहिम शुरू की और मुझे खुशी है कि खेलो इंडिया से निकले 28 खिलाड़ी इस ओलंपिक समूह का हिस्सा बने।
Prime Minister Narendra Modi hosted the Olympic-bound contingent at his residence in New Delhi, reaffirming government's commitment to keep supporting the athletes and providing them with top-quality sporting infrastructure in India. Sports Desk, TD India.
Union Minister Sarbanand Sonowal felicitated Olympics double medalist Manu Bhaker, presenting her with a cheque of 10 lakh Indian rupees. Manu was presented with a bouquet of flowers and her parents were also honoured during the meeting. The interaction moved the parents to tears when she was thanked for making the nation proud. Moving on to soccer now, the English Premier League season returns to action on Friday when Manchester United host Fulham at Old Trafford. With this, Erik ten Hag begins his third campaign in charge of the Red Devils. Earlier, the Dutch coach was given a reprieve for a terrible league season due to United winning the FA Cup. Now in the new season, Erik ten Hag will have the newcomers Matteo Tilo and Nuziar Mazrouzi, who will be available for Friday's season opener. But the manager lamented that his team is not quite ready for the new Premier League campaign. So that was a quick wrap from the world of sports. Back to you, Siddharth.
Oh, thank you so much, Deepika, for all those updates from the world of sport. A giant rabbit greets visitors at New York Botanical Garden, giving them a glimpse of what is to come. The Alice-themed exhibition at the Botanical Garden inspires visitors to dive into Wonderland of Alice and feel more connected to the natural world. The exhibition will end on 27th of October this year. That's all for this edition of DD India News Hour, but let us know your thoughts on the news of the day. For those on the go, you can get all the latest news and updates from India and across the world on DD India mobile app. The app is available on both Android and iOS platforms. Scan the QR code on the screen to download now. We'll be back with more news as it breaks here on DD India. I'm Siddharth Bharadwaj from all of us here in Delhi. Thanks for watching DD India News Hour.